If you like what I do, consider joining my channel or donating to my coffee. Links in the description. Hey everyone, it's the Metroidvania Guru, and I'm here today to take a look at a survey that was conducted over at the Metroidvania subreddit. This survey was conducted by Azura, where they compiled a bunch of Metroidvanias and asked participants to rate each one on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being you hate it, and 10 being you love it. As of the making of this video, the survey has a sampling of about 200 respondents. I'd love to see a lot more people participate in the survey so we can get a more holistic view of the community's ratings. So I'll leave a link to the survey in this video's description, as well as a link to the results, and I would implore you to, take a look at these and participate. As for results, let's see how they currently stand. As you no doubt have predicted, Hollow Knight stands at number 1 at the very tip top. We're taking a look here, with a in between 9 and 9.5 rating, which is again not surprising anybody. I guess I am a little surprised at a couple of things. If you take a look at the top 5, we got Hollow Knight, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Super Metroid, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and then Ori and the Blind Forest. That's a really, really crazy top 5 for me. I know a lot of people don't prefer my taste in Metroidvanias, which is perfectly fine. We all have our different tastes. But I guess what I'm referring to is I've been playing Metroidvanias for over 30 something years, right? And so Super Metroid and Symphony of the Night have always been, the king of the hill. And to see that they've been toppled so far from this survey by Hollow Knight and Ori Will of the Wisps, it kind of blows my mind. And if you follow my channel, you know kind of where I stand when it comes to Metroid games. I'm not the biggest fan of Metroid games. I do love Super Metroid and I love Metroid Fusion. I love those games a lot. Any of the other Metroids are just kind of like okay to me, okay to good. But to see Super Metroid over Symphony of the Night, that just blows my mind. I'm like, wow, because I remember growing up and just everyone was always like, Castlevania is the best, Super Metroid next. Sometimes it'd be flip-flopped, but it was always those two, right? But yeah, man, to see that Ori Will of the Wisps and Hollow Knight are above those, it just blows my millennial brain. And I like Will of the Wisps, I really do. I personally wouldn't rank it this high, even though it is an absolutely fantastic game. Then I see Ori and the Blind Forest, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot stand that. I don't know if I can. Okay, I can stand that game. I do like that game, but I don't think it's very great. I do like its graphics. I mean, its presentation is absolutely beautiful. Will of the Wisps was such a huge step up, but even to see Blind Forest above Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, it's kind of crazy to me. Seeing Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown so high is awesome. That game definitely deserves it, and I love seeing all y'all's love for that game, and I wish Ubisoft could see this as well. I don't know how that translates to sales or whatnot, especially when they decided not to release The Lost Crown on Steam. I think that really hurt that game, in my opinion. But yeah, Prince of Persia is really up there. That's nice to see. And I want to revisit Hollow Knight really quickly. Again, it's got that, it's between 9 and 9.5. Personally, I would probably rate Hollow Knight there. So just a little caveat before I move forward with what I'm about to say. But yeah, seeing Hollow Knight at a 9, I think it's solid. One of the things that's interesting though about Hollow Knight, and I don't know if a lot of y'all know this, but there was some data. I think you can take a look at Steam's player counts or whatever. But there was some data out there, and this isn't like hard data per se, but it's interesting to take a look at. But I forget what the trophy was or the achievement is that Hollow Knight players get. I think it's when you get your first charm, which is relatively early in the game. You can get your first charm within the first hour or so, and I think it was only 33% of players who play Hollow Knight get that charm or that achievement, which goes to show that, especially on Steam, that 66% of all players who play Hollow Knight abandon it, either because they just don't dig it or they hate it or whatever it is. And that's a huge player drop. I don't really have a whole lot of data on a bunch of other games or whatever, but that seems pretty huge to me. 66% of people who play Hollow Knight drop the game. But then you look at this data, and I know this is a smaller sampling of 200 people, but I don't think the Hollow Knight data that we're looking at here is going to change regardless of how many more people we get for this sampling. But Hollow Knight within the Metroidvania community is so beloved, even though outside of the community, a lot of people, it seems like a lot of people do not like it. And so I've always found that discrepancy interesting. So regardless of holistically what the gaming community thinks of Hollow Knight, within the Metroidvania community, it is pretty much a god. And we're seeing this as the data comes in for this survey. As we scroll down on this data here, you can see a lot of, probably the top 10, you're going to see pretty much every single Metroid game in existence. We got Metroid Fusion, which I think is far better than Dread, and Zero Mission. Zero Mission's really good though. We've got Metroid Prime in there. I think that's a like, I didn't realize that was so beloved. I think the game is okay. Most people the game itself is damn near a masterpiece, but as a Metroidvania, I think it's just okay. I don't know, it didn't hit for me, but apparently it hits for you all. But yeah, you see all the Metroids hitting pretty high up. You also see 9 Souls here. That's fantastic to see. That game is so freaking good, and to see that people are agreeing with me, at least in that respect. A lot of people don't agree with a lot of what I have to say when it comes to the Metroidvania space, but it seems that 9 Souls is something that we all can kind of agree on. As far as Castlevanias are concerned, we got Aria of Sorrow pretty high up there. Might be like it's easily top 10, top 15, and we're looking at a score of between 7.5 and 8, which isn't bad. You know, I would obviously rank it much higher because it is my favorite Castlevania, Igavania. But like I said, this survey isn't about me. I just kind of use myself as a reference, especially when it comes to like my top 15 Metroidvanias of all time. I know a lot of people they appreciate the video. A lot of people don't agree with what I got there, but that's because I have a different play style than most other people, and that's okay. We all have our different tastes, right? I like seeing Animal Well on here. That's kind of cool, and underneath it is Ender Lilies, which if you've watched my channel, you know it's been well documented of how much I love Ender Lilies. Then we have SteamWorld Dig 2. I think that's a huge one. I'm really, every time I play that, I get addicted to it. It's such a really great game. As we go down this list, we see some other big hitters. We got Crypt Custodian there. That's really good. Then we have Rotten, which is Bloodstained vs. Will of the Night. Islets, I love seeing Islets on here. Islets is going into the 7.5 to 8 range. That's a really special Metroidvania to me. I think it's really fantastic, and to see it so relatively high on this list, we're looking at top 20, I think, for Islets. That's pretty solid. Metroid Prime 2's on here for some reason. I'm sorry, guys. I hated that game. I loved Prime 1 so much more. But yeah, you got Prime 2 on here, so there's that. Got a couple Castlevanias, Order of Ecclesia, and then Dawn of Sorrow. I think that's very strange to see Ecclesia a little higher than Sorrow, because I think Dawn of Sorrow is fantastic. I like Ecclesia as well, but yeah, that's interesting. And then between them, sandwiched between them is Yoku's Island Express, which is a pinball game essentially. So that's super funny, very non-traditional. Then as we go down through here, we have Axiom Verge 1. I don't see 2 on here. I know a lot of people didn't like 2 as much as 1. I loved 2. I prefer 2 over 1, but I know I'm in the minority there, and that's okay. We have Guacamelee 2 and After Image. I think both of those games are absolutely fantastic Metroidvanias. I really love After Image, and so seeing it on this list relatively high, I think we're still looking at 7 to 7.5. Yeah, that's pretty good. We also have The Messenger on here. I don't know, guys. I know, I do love The Messenger. I think it's a great game, but as a Metroidvania, it's only half of it is a Metroidvania, and that's my least favorite half of that game. I don't know. You can say what you want to say in the comments, but I don't know. I just don't think Messenger is all that great of a Metroidvania, but you guys have it up pretty high. One that really got me here is that it's pretty low. It's below halfway, and we have Grime. Based off the comments from my videos and people asking me to, review Grime and stuff like that, I had presumed that Grime was like this Metroidvania darling. And according to this survey as of right now, that doesn't really seem to be so. Like I said, it's below the 50th percentile in this survey, and they're giving it between a 7 and 7.5, which isn't bad. But I felt like people were more into Grime than this, so I don't know. We'll see how this survey plays out. Underneath Grime is a surprising one. Well, kind of surprising. I don't know. It's Aeterna Noctis. And this surprises me because I feel like Aeterna Noctis is the most divisive Metroidvania in existence. Let's take a look at Hollow Knight for a second. I said Hollow Knight had a 66% drop rate or something like that. That number may have changed, but let's just go with it. So the 33% who stick with the game are typically going to be your Metroidvaniers, right? The people who are really big into Metroidvanias. And there's a consensus among a majority of Metroidvaniers that think that Hollow Knight is just one of the best ever made. Then you take a look at that same community, right, of the Metroidvanias, and you give them Aeterna Noctis, and like they are split. There are people that will say that it is on par, if not better than Hollow Knight, and then there are other people like me who just find the game to be exhausting. So wherever you land at on that spectrum, it is what it is. But it's just so interesting to see that from this sampling, Aeterna Noctis is really just kind of middling, which is something I agree with. Like, I don't know, like, I don't want to like make the game sound bad or anything like that. And I am looking forward to Aeterna Lucas. Lucas? Is it Lucas? I don't know what it's called. Whatever the sequel is. But yeah, it's, the game has great boss battles. It has a lot of challenging platforming, let me tell you. But it is very long. It can be very exhausting for a lot of people. Pace yourself with that game, I beg you. Another interesting one to me is just a couple of lines below Aeterna Noctis. We have Gato Roboto, which is a really interesting game because it's only like 2 hours long. Typically, I think like 3 hours maybe, but if you're really good in the game, it could be like 30 minutes. And I got nothing against Microvanias. I enjoy those. But for me personally, I just thought Gato Roboto was just okay. And it seems a majority of people kind of agree. They give it a 7 to 7.5. But then they have Monster Boy underneath that, which I think is a much better game than what's being rated here. Again, this isn't about me, but like I said, I use myself as a reference. I think Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom is absolutely fantastic. And I would never place it below Gato Roboto. That just seems silly to me. But again, we all have our different tastes. The next line item like hurts my soul, and that's Hack. Giving Hack a 7 to 7.5 just absolutely hurts. Me personally, I'd give that game, it's up there with Hollow Knight for me. I think that game is absolutely fantastic. And if you haven't played Hack, you really should. It starts out a little too narrative heavy for my liking, but then that kind of like pares down as you get into the game. And it's a solid game. And to see it here with just like a 7 to 7.5, hurts. And then of course underneath that we have ESA, which is like a legend in the Metroidvania community. And to see it so low it's kind of weird, especially because this community is so dedicated, our Metroidvania community, and ESA is a darling. Another darling is you're going to see is Valda's Story, and if we scroll to the bottom here, Valda's Stories here is between 6.5 and 7. I thought it would be higher than that, again because it is such a darling in the community, but it seems tides are shifting. And I just want to kind of wrap things up here. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but some other things that are interesting. I see we have Circle of the Moon on here still. That's a game that I have I think I don't like it more than I like it, but I do like the game and I do play it every once in a while just because it's one of those like games that's so hard, but once you figure it out, it's so easy. And I like games like that. They're fun to revisit, to kind of remember, oh man, remember when you were kicking the crap out of me? Well, guess what? I got all the cards now, baby. You know what I'm saying? So it's nice to see Circle of the Moon on there. Shantae, The Pirate's Curse is the only Shantae game on here, and I think that's fair. I like Shantae and the Seven Sirens a lot, but I would say probably Shantae and the Pirate's Curse is the stronger game. I need to replay all of those again. I replayed them not too long ago, but I have them on my tier list, and I'm not comfortable with their placement. I'd like to move them around. But yeah, seeing Shantae and the Pirate's Curse on here and no other Shantae is a little surprising, but not really. And of course, they gave Shantae, it's like right at 7. So between 6.5 and 7. Iconoclast is on here, which is a game I think is absolutely wonderful, but I don't think is a very strong Metroidvania. You all seem to be agreeing. It's under a 7. Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight's here, and that's the only Momodora. So the latest one, Moonlit Farewell, is nowhere on this list, which is interesting. I personally prefer Reverie over Moonlit Farewell, but maybe that's why that's on here and no other ones are. But I just found it to be a little interesting. This one's interesting. We have Tevi and Rabby Ribby right by each other. I think that's like super funny. Tevi is over Rabby Ribby just a little bit in the 6.5 to 7 range. I personally would put Rabby Ribby over Tevi and a lot of other games, to be quite honest with you, in this Metroidvania spectrum. But I haven't played Tevi since launch, and a lot of people have told me that Tevi has gotten so much better, and it actually has like modes that are very similar to Rabby Ribby. So maybe that's something I'll revisit in the future, but I doubt it because that game's so huge, and I didn't enjoy it as much as Rabby Ribby. I love seeing Biomorph on here. That's great to see. La Mulana's on here because you all hate yourselves and keep putting this game up on there. So I'm just joking. I like La Mulana for what it is, but it is, man, is it hardcore. And then we kind of end off with Ultros and Tales of Kenzera Zao. I don't know how to say that game. I don't like it. But Ultros, that's a fantastic game. To see it get just barely a 6.5 is, that one kind of hurts a little too. I am currently working on a video for Ultros. It's a long one because I got a lot to say about it, but that's a pretty dang good Metroidvania, and to see it like almost like pretty much at the bottom of this list, yeah, it hurts my soul a little. And there you go. That's pretty much the survey. I don't really know how the Metroidvanias were chosen or picked. I'm pretty sure they were just kind of picked based off of Azura's tastes, I suppose. Maybe taste isn't the word, but I get it. Like, you don't want to put every single Metroidvania in the whole wide world on the survey, then no one would take it. I totally get it. So Azura probably just picked the ones that they thought was going to be the most impactful or something. I don't really know. There are some that I would like to have seen on here that aren't on here, such as Biogun. I think is an absolutely fantastic Metroidvania that came out last year now, 2024. So I would like to have seen that on this list, especially over Tales of Kenzera Zao. Like, what the heck? Yeah, but overall, I like seeing what I see here. I would love to see more people contribute to this survey. So again, check the description in this video. Should be a link there. Click that link. You can take the survey. It'll take you a little bit to get through it because you got to answer for every single one of these titles. But I think it'll be worth it. I think it'll be cool. I'd like to see this within the next week and see how things change. Yeah, but there you go. Just wanted to give some visibility to this survey because I'm interested in what the community really thinks on stuff. It kind of helps me out, especially when it comes to grading these Metroidvanias for my tier list. I'm actually working on a different grading system right now, developing something that's a little down the line, but just look forward to that, to a very different grading system. But yeah, seeing the Metroidvania community as a whole basically not have my tastes in Metroidvanias at all pretty much solidifies everything about what I was thinking anyway. And that is that I am a weirdo. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I'm working on other videos right now, but I'm kind of taking a break. December, I was really throwing out a bunch of videos, and I'm just a little burned out, so I'm actually playing Metroidvanias now for a little bit. It's kind of silly that I'm a Metroidvania channel, and I don't play as many Metroidvanias as I would like because I'm making videos about Metroidvanias. So I've been diving in, playing some MVs. I'm playing Cookie Cutter right now. That's something I'll probably regret. I am kind of... It took me a while, but I'm kind of enjoying that now. Got through Hack, got through, I think it's pronounced Atto, A-T-O, however you pronounce that. And a bunch of other ones, Pompous and Celine, whatever. I just been grabbing them and just playing them. Anyway, I'm talking too much. I'm going to get back to work. You guys have a fantastic new year, and later, nerds.